Okay, Cathy. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you would begin by stating your name, your major, the program that you went on, and as well as the term.
My name is Kathleen Calderon. My major is ethnicity, race, and migration, and I participated in the SIT study abroad program of Indonesia, arts, religion, and social change this last spring 2016.
Okay. And Kathleen, when you made the decision that you wanted to go study abroad, what initially drew you to SIT's programs?
I had heard great things about it from other friends, from older, upperclassmen who had gone abroad with SIT. And when I was looking at the website and I saw all of the options, like all of these programs all over the world, I read through almost all of them, probably, if I can remember correctly. And just seeing the diversity, like the range of topics that you could cover, that making it easier to harder because there are a lot of options, but also, I guess more fun because you have a lot of options. So seeing that I could study arts and religion, which is something I chose because I don't study it at school, or I could go and continue my studies. And there was indigenous resistance or the effects of globalization, which is more of, what I study here at school. The fact that I could choose, kind of at both, not extremes, but in those arenas, that really was intriguing, that attracted me to look into more programs and to have the choice, to have options, and choose a program. And I did, and I'm so in love with it still that I wish I could do it again. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So how did you land specifically on the program in Indonesia?
I'm sorry, what?
How did you land specifically on that program?
Program. That one, because I decided that I wanted to study something that I wasn't studying at school. So then I looked into, I think I searched arts, and that came up because it's arts, religion, and social change. There was another program, I think in Bolivia or in Nicaragua, that was dealing with arts as well. But as someone from Latin America, I wanted to go somewhere else. I wanted to learn something totally different, just go somewhere that I didn't know anything about. And so that's why I chose the Indonesia program that had, that arts component.
Good, good. All right. Tell me a little bit about your ISP that you did.
My ISP was on the village that we lived in Indonesia, in Kerambitan. So Kerambitan is the name of the village and the district of that village, and it's in the Regency of Tabanan. And so this is all in Bali. I decided to stay. So, for ISP, we get to choose wherever we want to go and go study whatever we want to study for 4 weeks. And we get to do our field work, and we interview people in Indonesian, and then you get, a week they recommend to write all your stuff and get your stuff together. So I decided to stay with my homestay family there in the village. I wanted to learn more about the history of the village, where its name came from, if there were any holidays or events that were specific to the village. How is it organized? There's political organization in Bali, but there's also religious organization. So learning about the different community groups, how they set up their rituals, parades, events, all, religiously based. And so, I got to meet a lot of heads of the different groups that were in the community. I got to meet members of the youth group that were in the village, that are in the village. And I learned about the history of the village in terms of that it came from a kingdom. So the palace that we lived in and studied in, that was our program center, I learned about the history of that palace and how it came to be and how it was made there and who decided to build it there. So I just, studied everything about the village. Like I would just go and ask questions about everything and in Indonesian. And then luckily some people kind of wanted to try their English. So that was really cool to experience in doing your field work. And then I was lucky enough also because my parents there, my father was very involved with the community groups that organize the religious events and the political events also. So I got to ask him about that. My grandfather used to dance for that village in the temples there. So it was like, it was too good to be true. I was very happy staying there and learning about it. And the academic director actually said that she wanted to use the information I got to help teach students when they were going to go to the program there because this was the first semester. My semester was the first one that we got to live in that village. Usually they just do the 1 week orientation, but yeah, now we're living with homestay families there, or with families there. So that was really exciting too, to be able to help out in that way.
That's wonderful. Oh my gosh, a contribution to the program as well. How neat.
Yeah.
Was this your first time like actually like conducting research of this sort of magnitude and like writing a formal research paper?
This wasn't the first time writing a research paper, but it was definitely the first time doing field work for a research paper. And so that was, I mean, I was so grateful for that opportunity because I'm aspiring to be a professor and I'm in a fellowship that helps students of color get into, PhD programs and stuff like that. And so since this last summer, I was going to be doing fieldwork for my thesis, during the spring, I was able to get this experience with SIT and do fieldwork, even on on a different level, in a language that you do not know, in a place that you're not from. And so that, to be introduced to fieldwork in that way, it might sound intimidating, but it wasn't, because everyone was so helpful and kind, and they just, they wanted you to go out and ask the questions and just try and just be involved and observe and, know that people who live there know that you don't know everything and that you want to learn, that you're going to ask questions all the time, so that it was okay to do that. That's what you should be doing. So yeah, to have that be my first experience of fieldwork, I could not imagine a better way to be introduced to that type of work. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's really, really cool. Do you think you'll be able to use the specific research that you did on program in the future sometime?
Oh, the ISP in the future? I think, well, not exactly in my academic work for school, just because it's something totally different. But I think I'm going to look back at my ISP. I'm going to go through the paper and kind of see how I basically included like my interviews and the sources that I got. So the information that I got from primary sources, because I don't know how I did that. Like we did the field work and, I had written a research paper, but not with field work. So I guess I had never done ethnographic work before, like what I experienced there. But somehow, and maybe it's just not very present right now in my brain, I did it. And so I'm kind of like, well, I need to do that again for my senior thesis. So I need to go back and kind of see how I worked through this, of course, with the help of my academic director and the grad student advisor that helped us, through the ISP. So definitely going to look back at their comments and suggestions, and I guess the structure, of my paper and everything. That'll help a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So at least it's not content that you can use in the future. Certainly the hard skills that you learned. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, Cathy, just to wrap it up here, is there anything that you wish that you would have known before you left for the program?
Not that.
Advice
No,
for future.
Advice. Just, I got the advice when I got there, but beforehand, and I guess I kind of thought of it, or I guess internalized, just to have no expectations, or lower your expectations and you'll be happier. Our teachers always told us that. And, because we're used to a certain lifestyle here in the US, for us, we were all from the US, the students in my group. And so just lowering your expectations and not having any reservations about anything. So just going with the flow and knowing that you're learning every day that you live there, that you're trying to speak the language, that you're seeing new things, that you're visiting new places, and just, that makes for a happier semester abroad. I guess that would be my advice also for future students, is just to go in and not think about, you might get a little shocked maybe because the academic work is different. You're learning in a different way, but that's the whole point. And so just to not really think hard about what's actually happening, but just kind of letting it happen, and you'll understand how that's changing you and how you're growing as an individual, as the program goes, and when you have moments to reflect and when you have discussions with your group and all of that. So yeah, that would be my advice, or I guess what I wish someone told me before, but it was all great in the end.
I think that's excellent advice. That's sort of a little more of like the learning curve as well, getting out of your comfort zone and sort of what you learn in a country, but excellent advice for anybody going on any study abroad program.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Cathy. Well, that's it. That's all the questions I have for you today, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.